I kept riding west. The plan for the day was about 260 kilometers. I'd be passing the famous Dangre Yongcuo Lake, and by the end of the day, I'd make it to Cuoqin County in Tibet.
Good morning, 8:40 right now. And ready to pack up and start a new day's ride. The weather outside still gloomy, not very good.
Well, right now is my breakfast time. Sesame powder and with a muffin-like stuff I bought yesterday. Crispy stuff. Outside very beautiful rainbow. There was a raindrop just some dozen minutes ago, just as it was, clean. I got back on the road, but my first stop was a small village up ahead. I was planning to see if I could get some fuel for the bike there.
I checked online. Seems like there was a small village over there. There's a private person who is selling, fuel. But actually, that's not allowed based on Chinese regulation.
Some locals stopped me here and asked if I had any engine oil they could use for their bike. I had to say no. I wasn't carrying any. And my own engine warning light had been on for days already, for no clear reason.
Wenbunan village. I'm gonna buy myself some fuel here.
I rode into the village, but I couldn't find any sign of a gas station. So I stopped to ask some guys unloading materials from a truck. I tried my best to explain what I needed, but they just couldn't understand. I asked another guy, he didn't know either. Then a third one, same answer. A fourth, still no luck. I was almost ready to give up when I met one last guy. He finally told me there was a gas station about 90 kilometers away. That was the info I needed, so I set the navigation and kept riding. I ran into the same group of locals again. They were still there fixing their bike. I wished them good luck and got back on my way. The sky had turned blue for a bit, but it didn't last long.
Blue sky. This morning there was rain, but right now, large area of blue sky. That's Wenbu South Village, where I tried to find some fuel. And there is the gate where I pitched my tent, and now I'm here. Wow, just look at this. But there are better views, trust me. There will be a certain distance we will follow this truck for a very long time, at least for 1 hour. Wow, just look at this turquoise-like lake, Dangreyongcuo Lake. So beautiful. I'm not trying to embellish it too much, because you can see it yourself. Just imagine living here. You look at these houses, not so many of them, less than 10 I would say. face lake every day. I heard the suicide rate in Tibet very, very low.
Dangre Yongcuo is a massive saltwater lake sitting at around 4,530 meters above sea level. It is the deepest lake in Tibet and considered one of the most sacred by local believers. In winter, it's surrounded by snow-capped mountains, and the crystal clear blue water makes the whole place feel wild and untouched.
That side is a little bit narrow. The shape of this lake is kind of like a shoe. So for this part, it's like a heel of that shoe, and for that part, like a toe of the shoe. But that part is also very large, and that's a narrow stretch. Here is the nearest site. That part is the toe part of this lake, the shoe I mentioned, and this is the nearest site. Viewing platforms just here, and that part is the heel part of that shoe. It's truly stunning. I can still see some nomadic people, the tents opposite side of this lake. Cannot imagine how they live their life there. Place is truly amazing, picturesque. So quiet, serenity, and the color, sapphire color, really beautiful. And even though cloudy sky, but the lake is still so stunning. There's a scene right here. Earth is still in its original state, just exactly how it looked like and how it looks like. And also, there's another thing that Dangreyongcuo Lake is a palette that God created for our human people.
I left the viewing platform, kind of a bummer to see the trash bins overflowing with no one around to clear them. Then I got back onto the main road, with the Dangreyongcuo Lake still stretching out on my left.
A very short distance, we will switch to that side, and then we will say goodbye to this lake, Dangreyongcuo. Right now the altitude is 4,728 meters, and the temperature 12 Celsius. So, bye-bye. I think heavy rainfall ahead.
And I took 2 last photos, just to remember this stunning lake.
Now I need to go to that direction. but heavy rainfall there. Probably hill. I don't know. Is this fork to this direction? Another village to. I was from this direction, and I will head to that direction. I see this spot, very small one. Bus station. The wind starts to pick up.哎，你好，这有加油站吗？哎，加油站。加油了，加油了。谢谢。谢谢。藏餐厅那个哈，那个藏餐厅可以吃饭哈。
It was already 2:15, so I figured I'd grab some lunch first. The first place I tried was closed, so I went next door, but it was packed, which meant a long wait. I wasn't really in the mood to sit around, especially with the weather looking sketchy and still a long way to go. So I just stopped by a small shop and grabbed some snacks instead. When I came out of the store, my bike was surrounded by a group of locals. They were chatting in their own language, and I couldn't understand a word. I shared some of my snacks with a few kids, and they were so friendly. As I was getting ready to leave, they all waved goodbye. There was something really pure about them.
不客气。
This was probably the craziest gas station I'd ever seen. Just a few big iron barriers sitting inside a room.
92的13。
And I had to use a small bucket to pour the fuel into my tank myself. But honestly, for a tiny remote village like this, it kind of made sense.
Shabby gas station. At the beginning I planned to take lunch here, but a lot of persons.
I accidentally hit a plate of pica. I turned the bike and moved it to the side of the road. There were just so many of them crossing at this time of year. I figured at least a vulture might find it eventually. The rain clouds were gathering again. I could tell another downpour was waiting somewhere up ahead.
My altitude right now is 5,000, temperature 7. Altitude 5,052 meters. It's crazy. The highest level I've been reached since my departure.
I didn't see a single person along this stretch of road, just a few lonely houses here and there, but patches of blue sky started breaking through the thin clouds. It felt like a good sign. The altitude stayed high, over 4,800 meters. And then I rode into this vast stretch of wetland. It felt completely boundless.
There's a creek. Gonna get myself some water. I've rode 30 kilometers since my departure from Laizuo village, and still got like 10 kilometers or so like that to Junchang village. I probably will stay there because already 5 o'clock. Still some drops. My altitude rose all the way to 5 sarans first time to like that, and then decrease. Now right now it's 4,747. Still very high. Hey，我问一下，从这里是君昌乡是吧？
对，
我要从这里去错勤，今天晚上到不了了哈。
应该能到100多分。
那个路咋好？走好走吧？
路不是马路。
从这里出去就不是马路了。
对。
这下雨的时候不好走呀。
确实不好走。
这边没有酒店是吧？这里面。
没有。
你好。
你好，你去哪里？
我去错勤，今天晚上估计到不了了。
错勤100公里，不用，马上就到了。
但是它路不好走，下雨了。
没事，17公里头路，再有了嘛。
哦，就往错勤。
这边错勤。
你们这里晚上我要是到不了，我要搭帐篷的话，有狗熊吗？
没有狗熊。
没有。
如果你想到就来我家吧。
好嘞，那我往前再走走。
好嘞。
谢谢你，谢谢。拜拜。好，拜拜。
Just outside the village, the road turned into mud. I pulled over to think it through. I really didn't want to get stuck out there with no man around. So I double-checked the navigation, took a breath, and decided to give it a shot anyway.
It's mud. If you got your tire on this type, even of those types like this one, still it can slide. Cannot provide enough traction. Slippery.
Here came my first real challenge, a muddy stream with no way of knowing how deep it was. I walked over and tested it with my boot, and also watched a truck pass through to get a better idea. After double-checking a few times, I decided to ride into it. Finally, I hit a short stretch of concrete, maybe less than 10 meters. Out on the grassland, I saw some horse riders, and honestly, admittedly, the whole track here was just full of muddy puddles.
Less than 2 kilometers. I will finish this bumpy, wet track to the paved. A very narrow track.
And now it was time to grab a few shots with my Benelli 702. I passed through a tiny place called Cishi village. It was so remote, I didn't see a single person, and I was out of there pretty quickly. Because of the wetlands here, the roadbed was pretty soft, so the government was repairing parts of the road along the way.
Black naked crane, you say? Oh wow, that's so elegant of them. Well, clearly they are a couple. They don't afraid of me even though I'm here.
Riding through this wetland, Lake Cuoqin was on my left and Lake Cuoqin was on my right, but neither of them was accessible. The whole area was protected.
This road is very close to the right lake, untouched by humans' activity. Under the sunset glow, a rippled wave. See, they just cleaned this area. Hey! Especially for road maintenance.
Up ahead was another lake called Dangreyongcuo, which I planned to visit the next day. It was already 7:40, so there was no way I'd make it there before dark.
Just look at the landscape here, kinda like Iceland, right?
I really enjoyed this stretch of the ride. The scenery actually reminded me of Iceland. It's kind of amazing how two places so far apart can look so similar, isn't it?
I've arrived at what's the name, by the way? Cuoqin solar power station. I think sunshine sample is enough for this small country. Now I'm gonna find myself a hotel.
I figured my Benelli deserved a wash after such a long day on the road. I checked in, grabbed a bowl of beef noodles and some lamb skewers. Around 9 p.m., I wandered around a bit and saw some locals dancing in the plaza. I figured that was a pretty good way to end the day.